their hamburgers are.
Well, I guess.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
Sorry.
Call this meeting to order on August 17th, 2020. We'll have the flag salute
24th,
first.
August 24th. August 24th.
Not 24th, yes. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I read that wrong. 24th of 2020. Well, you're going to have to tell me if there's anybody online for public comments, you know.
Okay.
I'm not zooming in.
Okay. So are you opening the public comment portion of the budget hearing?
Just,
Because we're due budget hearing first today.
okay.
So it looks like just county staff online. I can't tell, well, then maybe there's some others. Okay, so do you want me to ask if anyone
Yeah,
has?
go ahead.
So if anyone has any public comments for the budget hearing, if you want to type into the chat or unmute and you can make a comment at this time. There are none online.
None?
No, I don't know if you want to open it again after you have discussion.
Okay. Yeah, we may do that at the end. Any public comment period, okay? And you're here for some of the districts or something like that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead to that, well, we'll move into budget discussion. Mr. Scott Lloyd.
Yes, sir. You have, I believe Tina said she copied the county portion of the budget. For you that are new, it's called a consolidated budget. So, what district are you with?
Our district number 7.
Yeah, fire district number 7. So what you have on the full budget, if you had it, would be 78 wonderful pages, because every one of those extra districts is put in behind the county, it's published with the county, and it's consolidated. What that does then is all those extra districts save publication costs, because it's all published at once. So yours is about probably 30-something pages, 20-something pages maybe. Just to kind of give an overview, and then you can tell me if you want me to go any deeper. This year, when we worked on the budget, we had the first time I remember, probably in, I don't know, 10 years at least, a drop in the assessed value of $337,297. With that, we still felt like, or the commission felt like, that they needed to take care of some various things in the budget. When we got done working all the numbers up, the employee benefit fund, as we had told you when we had met, was pretty low in cash balance. And so that 1.839 mils that we had originally, if you want to, probably the easiest place to see the numbers I'm talking about, because I don't know if you have the summary sheet, is if you look at page 25. And so if you look on page 25, this is what was actually put in the paper. And last year, the total taxes were $10,416,362. As I said, we had a drop in assessed value.
Scott, you're talking about the general page that you got on top, or which one?
No, page.
Okay.
The
He's
public,
talking about the budget summary.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the budget summary, because I don't think you have a copy of this. I'm sorry, I should have made another
We can
copy.
make
It's in your
copies of
packet.
it, but
It's in the packet.
it's on
not what
page.
she gave. It's not what she handed out to us.
Okay, it's not in here.
No.
That's what I was gonna say, I don't find it. Okay.
Do you want to?
I looked it up. It doesn't go up that far on what she passed out.
Usually Scott, if he's on top of the game, he's got little hand numbers down there.
See, mine only goes up to 17, what
Oh,
she gave
sorry.
us. Yeah, but I printed it off of the packet.
I think he's gonna give you the little summary page that he prepares
Yeah.
on front, so.
Oh, sorry.
Head on collision. Thank you. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
We just got started, got everything taken care of, we're just getting into the first part of the budget here.
Okay, we'll start this again. Okay, we had talked about this being the consolidated budget, and this is all special districts and the county's budget that we're talking about today. But specifically now, I am talking just about the county budget. So if you look at that sheet I just gave you, down towards, in column P, you see a negative 337,297. That was the number we talked about. The assessed value was down 337,297. So what that does is it causes the mill levy to get to the same dollars as last year. Over in the right-hand column, you'll see a .177.
Yes.
That is the 24,780 that it took just to get that 337 replaced, okay? And then, if you look at the tax lid, which is the next line down, 1.663 on that very right-hand column, and 232,776, that would be the tax lid portion. And so, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but that's where we come up with, we, or you as a commission felt like that you wanted to make sure that we made whole the drop in assessed value of 337 plus the tax lid so that we didn't lose dollars. So then when we started looking at that, you'll see up here in column P, there's a 232,776 that is in the change column. That is added into employee benefits. And as I was getting ready to say earlier, the reason we put it in there because the cash balance in there was significantly low. And so typically we'll put it in the general fund so that we can be a lot more flexible. But in this case, if you know you're going to be short in the employee benefit fund, because we haven't added to that one for a while, then that's where we put it. So with that, the total mill levy increase because assessed value dropped is that if you look down at the bottom of column R, it's off by .001 with the one on the right there, but it's 1.839. That would be in column R, that would be the mill levy increase to get the tax lid and to make whole the assessed value decrease, okay? So that would be the 257,556 total. One thing that was found, I'll give kudos to Bryce. He was looking over his road and bridge budget, and last night, or yesterday, I guess, he sent me an email, and we had it off the debt schedule and all that, but that Tampa Road just keeps coming up, you know, and it was still in his, as a line item in the 2021 year. So there'll be one change. We'll take the 223,182 in the 2021 year and move it up to blacktop projects. It's just one line up, and we could even have changed that after the budget hearing, but I went on and made the note here, and I wanted to bring that to your attention today.
Because it is paid for this year.
Yes, 2020 is the last payment. Yeah, so I'm not sure I had that out there, but anyway, it's an easy fix inside, because you have to remember the total expenditures of each fund is what you have to make sure is published correctly.
Yes.
And the total expenditures do not change. Other than that, I don't really have anything else unless you have questions that or comments. I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Anybody here?
Went through this a few times, so.
The only comment that I have is I think we decided to do that is to put more in the general and not go to a line item with it. Yeah, that's like on roads and bridge, sometimes that's, I like, in case that gentleman right there wants to know exactly where we're going with some things, I'd like to know, like we have, but we changed that a little bit too this year. Up the general a little bit. So,
I think what you're talking about is on page 7D, at the very top of the page. It's the part where you have the 80%, 20% sales tax, and you have the additional money that's transferred to capital improvement.
yes, yes.
So if you look at the top of 7D, there's 4 lines there, and it shows that you transferred in 19, 409,533, which was less than what was actually budgeted in 2019. And then what we have in 2020 and 2021, if it was to be transferred or spent for the roads,
Yeah.
1.5 million.
That's the only thing I have
Scott,
otherwise.
you might just clarify for the public exactly where our valuation decrease came from?
Oh, from oil and gas, you mean from the oil and gas?
So
Yeah.
people are,
Yeah.
understand where that decrease came
Right.
from.
Mhm. So, to the best of my knowledge, the state sets the oil and gas, and back in January, they already had it set, is the way I understood it. And then this is one of the only times they've ever went back and changed it and dropped it 50%, I
Yes,
think,
yes.
on the value. And so, that makes a fairly significant change in your assessed value if you drop it 50%, even though, I don't know, Marion may not have as much oil like its Butler or some of those, but still it's a significant drop in your assessed value. And the state has that, we have nothing, the appraiser here has nothing to do with that, the state actually sets that.
I'm gonna turn it back to you, Jonah. The gentleman out here is here for rural district 7, fire district 7. That's what he's sitting here for, so.
And you'll need to open for public comments on the budget.
Okay.
So, open comments then.
Yeah, that's the only thing we go with that.
No way. Okay.
I don't need a motion to approve this kind of budget.
Make a motion to approve 2021 budget.
Second.
With second by Randy. Discussion.
I'm gonna make one comment on it. And again, another year we raised the mill levy. Now, I know last year we took it back just a tiny bit. What was it, a mill we took it back or something like that. And I know we have to do what we have to do, but I remember very vividly in one of our budget meetings that I had asked that we sent back all the wish list of the department heads and ask if they could maybe take a cut, go through their budgets, reassess, reevaluate, see if there was maybe 10% that they could take off to help us keep things in a more level playing field. And my disappointment comes in the fact that the commission didn't even ask them to take a cut. We didn't even try to save the taxpayers any money. And so I'm extremely disappointed in it, and I just think we could have done better. Even though 1.8 is not a huge increase, but an increase is an increase, and every year an increase we're getting, and you hear it all the time, we're not getting businesses because taxes are too high, so we have an increase. So I just wanted to express my disappointment in that, and that's all I have to say. But
Well,
you did a good job of
Thank you.
doing exactly what you were instructed to do.
Well, I have a comment to you. I mean, it's a positive comment. I would just challenge you all. Just because we set this budget at this level, doesn't mean that this money has to be spent
Right.
totally. And what we've done in the past, back in the tax lid in the 90s, was we went down the middle column with the various department heads and said, what's left in your middle column, for 2020 as we finish out the next 5 months? What do we need to do to try to tighten our belt a little bit, if that's what you feel like as a commission that needs to be done? And you have the power of saying yes or nay, you know, to any expenditure. This is the total picture, but the total picture really starts with every small transaction that comes to your view here as county commission. So what we did back then is we went into the middle column and did, I don't remember if it was 5 or 10%, but cut back that middle column and tried to have more cash carryover, because I think Ken said this many times, is, you know, you can't go borrow the money. You've got to make sure you have sufficient reserves to be able to take on situations that you're not gonna aware of, kind of like this whole thing with the pandemic. So that would be my challenge to you is, you know, we could look at this fall and see if there's some of those that you wanted to make addition, and all what happened is that cash just carries over into 2021, and you have the budget authority to spend it up to the budget authority. And so that's one thing. The second thing is, once I kind of get past this I think this next part deadline is not going to be quite as bad, but I really still feel like we need to stay on top of that FEMA. Because that FEMA is about, it could be anywhere from 300,000 to 700,000 depending on, you know, what we get reimbursed. That's a lot of money, and the Road and Bridge Department could use that 300,000 to 700,000, because we've already made the expenditures back when the four rains there in 2019. They are dragging their feet, FEMA is, but that's another thing that we could stay on top of and try to get that back. So there's a lot of positives in this. We don't like, and no one likes to raise the taxes, but you do have to also serve the citizens, and there's things you could do every day, you know, as you do. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Well,
That was 3 cents.
3 cents, okay, thank you.
I would agree with what Scott's saying. Last year when I was chairman, I did have a directive go to all the department heads saying to be as efficient in what they were budgeting as possible. Now, you know, if I have to put myself in a department head's shoes, and, you know, we can look at that and say, man, it looks inflated. Well, it probably isn't to them, because they feel like it's what's right. But I'm glad you brought that up. We have to approve those expenditures, and that's up to us at that point, say yay or nay. So I thank you for bringing up that point.
You know, I think one thing you have to think about with department heads, and I mean, I work with them in all different cities, counties, schools, all those different, but one thing is, you know, you have pressure as a commission, and people stop you on the street, and they'll talk to you about where you're at. But also the department heads have pressure, because I'm sure they get all kinds of, you know, they get stopped, you know, at the restaurant or whatever. So there's quite a balancing act there, and they want to make sure they're a good department head. So there's both sides to that, you know, and it's hard to balance that in a government. So
I think that's one of the biggest things out of all the years I've been in government is, well, you've got it in the budget here, that's my money.
yeah.
And that's
right.
That's not what it is. It's in a budget for them to go work under it, but that don't mean you have to spend 100% of it.
Right.
Because the old additive of, well, it's getting November 15th here, and we got only 30 days or so to get this money spent. That don't need to happen, and it needs to start back in June, like you said, or April maybe, maybe even before the 2021 starts. Is have a meeting, what Kent just said. Take a look and see what they can do, and to get to what you're talking about is a 10% cut.
And I just threw 10%. It
Yeah.
could have even been 6.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was just disappointed because there was no effort made. And sometimes, like you just said, Randy, I agree 100%. You get the budget and there it is. That's my money to spend.
Yeah.
Now, not all departments do that.
No,
We have some
no.
excellent departments, but we do have some runaway departments. And so, that's all
Plus,
I
we
can
need
say.
to know how difficult it is at this point to finance anything. I mean, we saw that in the last year. We've basically had one tool to use to finance anything without going to the public to vote.
I think there's some wisdom to be learned. I mean, I've talked, my grandparents are all gone now, but we're not anywhere close to the Great Depression, you know, in the 30s. But the one thing that they always told me, cash is king. And so, you know, the people that made it through the Great Depression had liquidity. And in government, it's hard to have liquidity because you have to really watch your cash balances. There's no other place to go get borrowing, and if it is a Great Depression, you're not gonna be able to borrow anyway, even if you could. And so that's something that I really, that whole thing of 3 and hopefully 6 months of cash carryover in your funds is huge. And so if you have to get to that 6 month by cutting some the departments to get to that, it's so much better to be a liquid government that's still operating than one that is, not shutting down, but really struggling to provide the services, because that's what it comes down to. We either have cash and resources to provide the services, or we then, like back in the 90s, some counties had to start cutting services.
Well, just the last recession was good proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we had a lot of counties filing bankruptcies, but we sure had cities filing bankruptcies.
Yeah.
So it would make no difference, county, city, or otherwise.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Scott,
it.
so I want to ask you a question. You said last year, I think it was last year, that there was a county somewhere here in Kansas that is all cash, that they have a budget of all cash or something like that. They don't charge anything. Do you recall saying that, or do you recall who that is? Which county that is?
Well, I don't know about cash, but I know that like at Marshall County, they have no sales tax, which that's a big number. Like for you, that's roughly 700,000, That one really shocked me when I started working on it last year. They finance everything and they have a lot of cash. So but they have their farmland there is probably valued anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 an acre. I mean, it's a totally different different opera. I never worked in the top row up there, but the top row up there is a different.
That's Corn Belt.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, they. Anyway.
So here's,
If I think of it, I'm getting old, so I may not remember what I said.
A lot.
If I'm driving back to Galva, I'll call back.
I'd like this
Well,
gentleman
make sure.
here, he come for a fire department budget, and that's something that we're not really over. I mean, it's run through the county and things like that. But I know there's probably Kent's been on fire board, and I don't know if Jonas has been through the city, and our cost of our fire equipment is skyrocketing. How is and we have 10 or 12 districts out here, or associations, I don't remember the exact number, but how are you guys looking ahead to put some money back for new equipment?
We just try to, run as lean as we can and carry as much forward as we possibly can. I mean, you have a pump that goes down and, a lot of our equipment's obsolete on different departments. And it's a lot of, we have a lot of firefighters that actually do the work. So, volunteer hours. I mean,
That's
if
right.
it wasn't volunteer, I don't believe that at least our district would be.
What district you in?
7. It'd be Tampa,
Tampa's, yes. Yeah, well,
Clark, and
that's something that I see that
our whole family.
when I left the city of Peabody's city government, we were trying to because we just bought some trucks in '97 at $120,000, and we thought, well, if we put back $5,000 a year for 20 years usage, that we'd have $100,000 be a start. But from what I'm hearing now, that's not even a start on some of
Yeah,
them.
you didn't figure in the appreciated value
Yeah.
of what it costs to buy.
And so.
They're bigger and better now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that every fire department needs the cream of the crop, everybody wants the cream of the crop to have it, but it's just one of them things that you're gonna have to have some money to go buy a piece of fire equipment today, whether it's used
And
or.
most of the departments are buying used equipment anymore. They just-
And just the repairs, I
Way it
mean,
is.
a standard national pipe thread, well, we're fire thread, which is, you
Yeah.
can buy a banjo fitting
Yeah.
for, $5, $10. You throw that into the fire, and now you're looking at $60 and $70 for that same piece that cam locks on.
Yeah.
But it's just different thread style.
Yeah, very true, very true.
I think fire departments, they do a really good job to go out and find the grants and stuff, like firehouse subs, and getting the equipment to do the lake rescues.
But
They're a good group of guys.
you've got 7 or 8 there of guys, it's groups that, I mean, they've got farming, they've got their life to tend to, and then
Yeah.
to try to find the extra time to go find a grant is,
I just mean in the continuity, I think they all work together.
Oh, yeah,
very well.
The big challenge I see with the fire is, you know, there's always been volunteers. The problem is the training that's required now.
Yeah.
And trying to
Just
find time to do
availability.
that.
I mean, we, up in the northern part, a lot of them, you know, work away, so, you know, your shifts are real thin up there, so. That's where mutual aid agreements and things like that are essential.
Yeah, it looks like, I just looking at department, or fire department 7, looks like your cash balances stayed in good shape, and you put 15,000 back in special equipment, so that's a good thing. And so it looks like they didn't even spend the tax lid. They were a little bit under the tax lid, so looked like they've done a good job.
I'll take it back to the motion in a second. Close up the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
4 to 1.
I'm always opposed to raising the taxes.
Well, appreciate the opportunity to serve you again, and this was maybe a more challenging year than we've had, but we got her done. And funny fire stories, I leave back in the day in Galva in 1987, I was out in my jam shorts, and some of you may not know what jam shorts are, but I'm mowing my yard, and the fire siren just kept going. Back then, the siren went off in town when the fire was supposed to go. Nobody's responding, so it went off like 7 times. I go, okay, well, I'll go down to the fire station. So I go down in my jam shorts, and sure enough, they put me in the truck, and I'm driving the truck, and I've never had any kind of fire experience, but it was a grass fire, and so I just had to go out and drive while they were spraying. But that's a visual. I'll leave you with that visual, okay? Jam shorts, CPA.
That's not a good visual, Scott.
Yeah.
Would it have been any different then than it would be today?
Well, I'd probably been in a little better shape
Oh, all
back
right.
then, yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay, thanks. Have a great day.
Take it to general public comment, but I haven't seen any pipe in. And nobody out here, so on to administrative business. With one little side note that we did say something today that everything stands as it did on the other day. If 52, 2 active, or 62 and 2 active.
But it still shows on the dash.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the budget page to get
Yeah.
back.
Coming by the airmail.
There's 5.
There's not.
I just was it in there.
Yeah, I seen it.
But there's no room on that sheet, right?
Oh, well, there was 6 lines, there was a space, and then the lines on the side.
That's all right.
So, but it's all good. Thank you. It's small. In your packet, you had another communication regarding the statistical review of the appraiser. You had your monthly revenue reports from your departments, and then you had expenditures, and I believe I had your quarterly financial accounts. Yep. This morning on the table, I put a couple of items that came in after the packets went out, so we'll be looking at those. One of them is a change order, or excuse me, a payment approval for the transfer station. There's that salary sheet.
So we have a salary change for William Mayfield, Sheriff's Department, part-time reserve officer, transport. around $0 to $12 an hour.
You do have a few change orders and then supplements. The change orders do require signatures.
Supplements.
The supplements are just for review, that
Yeah.
need to be signed.
No signatures on these.
not stacked there next year, the ink's gonna run dry on the thing.
What?
Not stacked there next year, the ink's gonna run dry on the thing. Right?
No, these are changes that are taking place before the tax bill is generated.
Okay.
So, that's why they don't require a signature.
Okay.
So it's work being done before the taxes are actually billed. On the change orders, those are on previously billed taxes.
These are just additions to the paid tax roll, correct?
Or subtractions.
I mean, not everybody buys a new vehicle has to come through here, come through this, right?
No, that's not for vehicles, or not for just your regular. These are for, like, what's considered personal property through the appraiser's office. So that would be your bigger equipment, trailers.
Boats,
Votes.
recreational vehicle.
Although we don't get, wreck the boats and all that, the watercraft has been lowered, quite a bit.
Think so?
Usually where you get a lot of change orders right after the tax roll is done is where people don't turn in their rental or personal property ahead of time.
Yeah.
Then they get their tax bill and then they go in and turn them in. And so then they have penalties taken off and different things. And so you will have a lot of reductions because of that. Okay. Have the minutes of August 17th.
Everybody had a chance to review the minutes for August 17th? Corrections or comments? If not, have a motion to approve the minutes August 17th. Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
So there are the signature page for that, and then here are the ones you previously approved that I didn't have
Yeah.
to sign last time. There should be 3 of them.
Last meeting that we approved, August 14th, August 10th, and July 31st. So, everybody,
I think it was the 6th, 10th, and the 14th.
yes, August 6th, that's right. Sorry, I was reading the wrong side.
That's okay. Okay, I did receive a pay estimate for approval. Yep. I gave a copy of it to all of you this morning on the table. This would be
Pay estimate
number
number
6.
6. Anybody see any issues with pay estimate 6? If not, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
All right, just a question. So, it's really this is kind of a confusing deal to me. Maybe I'm the only one who, we've got amount of contract and a percentage complete as of this estimate. Does that mean that we're 63.2% done with the project?
That's what it's supposed to translate to.
That's what it's supposed to translate to.
But it also is, it can factor in on material on site. So just because you don't have that much labor done,
Yeah.
the materials can
This
outweigh the
material's
labor.
there.
So,
parents laying it on the ground.
Yeah, so I mean, if it gets delivered, if it's on site, they have the right to bill for it, so.
Okay.
Did you make a motion?
No, I was about to. Went ahead and made sure. Okay, I will make a motion to approve pay estimate number 6 in the amount of $255,988.07. A second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
And the other document I put on the table for you this morning is actually from Randy Frank, and he's next on the agenda, so I don't have any other administrative.
Okay. We'll jump right into it. Randy on there?
Good morning.
Morning.
A couple things, I guess, since you're looking at the document. This document is a memorandum of understanding for Marion County and Tabor College. This allows Tabor College to be a sub under Marion County in accordance to the Category B funding with FEMA. Since Tabor College is not a government entity, they do it with sub-agents. This has been reviewed by our counselor, and he sent it back to me with one correction. There's a number correction, 2 3s instead of a 3 and a 4. That changed. It's at Tabor College right now. They're waiting on Jules to return from his trip. He should be back in today to sign the agreement. I asked the commission for to approve this document. This is the only way they can get FEMA funding if they do a non-congregate shelter for their students. The sheltering is the building that they refurbished to the old hospital. The money that's been spent on it so far, Tabor College has used it out of their own, and also with the Mennonite Disaster Services folks that came in and did an awful lot of work for free. But if they actually have to put a student in there, this is the funding that they're going to be able to use to reimburse themselves with. But they have to do it through a government entity, which is us. So what I ask is if you wish to approve it, and at the same time, if you would approve Jonah signing it when we finally get it. Jules is supposed to be back in today signing it. That way we'll have an official document on the books before they have a student that needs to be in this center.
Randy,
Yes, sir.
what kind of funding are we looking at? What kind of dollars? It's not.
Well, it'd be expenses. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not on here. That's why I don't know what kind of dollars we're looking at.
Well, it's expenses for taking care of this non-congregate student that would be in this facility, which would be the housing expenses, feeding expenses, and all those kind of expenses. We don't know what that's going to be, but these will be FEMA dollars that will be based, as all FEMA dollars are, 75 and 15%, which means that Tabor College would have to, 25%. Tabor College would have to come with 25%, FEMA would do the 75%. We don't know what the actual expenses are going to be. We're really hoping that they don't put anyone in there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Get a motion to approve the MOU with Tabor College and the county, Marion.
And to authorize the chairman to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Gabe, motions.
I'll second it.
Second by Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Randy, I have a question. Can the general public be quarantined there or just Tabor students?
It's designed as a non-congregate shelter for the Tabor students. There currently is one that's open for the general public, but it's in Emporia. That's the closest one to us. That's an agreement. We'll have to work through the state if we're going to do that as well. There was a second item that I wish to discuss with the commission, if there's no other questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Okay. The second item is I'd like to ask the commission to increase mine and Marcy's debit card, or I believe it's called a purchase card, to $30,000 so that we can make our way through the Sparks project. We're running into some situations where vendors, they are not familiar with us, and they're not willing to extend a lot of credit. There's a lot of, unfortunately, bad people out there getting the stuff and reselling it, so the vendors don't get anything. And they're also worried about people hoarding supplies, which means we gotta buy just a few at a time and do it numerous times in a row. So we're requesting that with the larger amount on the card, that we'd be able to do this and also be able to get all the needed supplies for our emergency responders and PPE supplies. The other department heads that have projects may be asking you the same thing, because starting in September, when the governor approves the other projects, they'll run into the same challenges trying to get this accomplished before the end of the year.
Randy, how much do you have on your debit card now, allowance?
It's $5,000, and last Friday we spent $3,000 on it just to get one order approved, that we had to prepay a certain percentage.
What's the dollar amount that you got on the Sparks allocated for the PPE? Was it 99?
No, the PPE is $64,393.54.
Okay.
Does the commission wish to, this is for the commission, does the commission wish to have the chairman be notified of any large expenditures like that, so that, I mean, we don't know what you're buying.
I would suggest if we did anything like this, it would be a one-time, so 1 month, or
One purchase. What if you get it all from the same company?
that way you can raise the limit and then drop it back down. I mean, that way it doesn't have to be monitored so tightly.
Otherwise, it's gonna stay 30,000 forever.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Certain period of time, I don't know, 30 days, 60 days, I don't know what it takes to get those orders.
Well, it gets paid down.
Was
monthly, right?
would that be through a number of companies you'd be purchasing through, or do you just buy that from one entity, Randy?
There'll be numerous vendors. As I said earlier, they're all concerned about hoarding, so we can only get little at a time from each vendor, so we'll go to several vendors to gather the supplies.
We're talking 2 cards to the 30,000 limit.
Can I ask Tina a question? How often do you pay the card?
Monthly, we pay everything once a month.
You can't pay it twice a month. You can't,
Our billing cycle is a monthly billing cycle.
okay. Because we at work, we'll buy today and pay for it next week, just so we can keep using the money again and again.
Yeah, keep your limit
Yeah,
paid down.
keep our limit low, but
So are you thinking 60 days, or what are you thinking? I mean, 30 days is pretty short in case they can't get it.
Right.
So
I'd say
we'll
60
have it-
days.
I mean, I'm just asking, 60, 90, I'm thinking till November, why you wouldn't want anything after that, right? Because the end is December 31st when they have to buy this stuff, right?
And you're mainly talking about deposits, is what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deposit amount, not the whole amount.
Right.
To
Okay.
get,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, it's
No, I
to
got
get
it.
the vendors to be okay with
Mhm.
locking that amount in for you.
Right, right. I can see where that would be a crunch with everybody wanting to stock up.
so, Randy, are you taking bids from multiple vendors?
Yes, sir, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy, there's been quite a bit of discussion that we've had a white trailer and a white truck sitting, or a red trailer and a white truck sitting over here for quite a while. Is the reason why that truck's sitting out is because you have stuff stored over in Hillsboro where that was at?
The truck and trailer was actually sitting over here at the sheriff's department, and the sheriff was using those for his needs. I wasn't using them, the sheriff was using them.
Right, but is the reason why they couldn't be put up is because there was stuff stored over where this truck was parked? This is just
I believe the
I'm
sheriff,
just
yes,
asking.
yes, I believe the sheriff had items in it, that's correct.
No, he's saying that the sheriff had items in it. No,
Sheriff had
Randy,
stuff.
what he's asking is, the place that this thing would normally park, is that bay still open for this thing to park back in that spot again? And I was there the other day. I believe the answer is there's still room for that thing to park.
Okay.
But
Yes, yes, it is, and the truck and trailer are back in the facility. They were placed in there last week.
Okay, but my question was really getting to the stuff that was inside of the building is, do we have stuff stored there that's, and that's what, or is that what you're gonna be buying here with this amount of money? Is more stuff to store, or, I'm just asking, what?
I'm sorry, Randy. Yeah, yes, we're buying more PPE. The theory, the thought behind this is to buy this and have it in place, so when the other medical providers throughout the county get into the jam that they can't buy it, then we will have a resource for them.
Does this stuff have a fairly long shelf life, or?
Generally, it's about 5 years, depending on which item it is. Did I answer your question, Randy?
Yeah, I'm just,
Okay.
you know, I understand what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to absorb it. And we don't know what the future is, I understand that.
So true.
So we have to realize that it also may be material that never gets used.
I mean,
That's what,
yeah.
I guess that's our hope.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and just for the commission's information, right now, the supply in the PPE stuff is pretty good, because a lot of it's being brought back to be made in the United States. There's a lot of production being ramped up, and in our industry, we can get anything we want today. It doesn't mean next week it will be gone.
Right.
The inventory is less dependent on China than it was 6 months ago.
But again, if everybody starts purchasing, that can change.
Yeah, well, I said today.
Right. Well, I think he's looking for the future.
I think he's trying to get out ahead of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it done.
Yeah, I think that's what emergency management does, is to be prepared in advance.
Well, and this was part of the plan that was approved by the commission for the Spark funding. And I believe that's what, he's trying to purchase for that. So these would
That's
be
correct.
reimbursed.
So,
And then with the credit card, we got recourse to go back, and if the product didn't show up, we can get our money back with just a debit card.
Just a debit card, he said.
So we
Well, it's a purchasing card, but it,
should work like a credit card,
similar, yes.
because if I buy something and don't get it, I can go back and theoretically get my money back.
right, they don't take the money out of your account yet.
They
take.
do.
I mean, it's out of the credit account, but not your personal account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy,
That's much more secure
So
on
it's
the
a
credit
good
side
way,
than the
good
debit
way to
side.
buy stuff.
Diane?
Randy, with 60 days advance increase, as you're suggesting, would that be beneficial to you, or are you suggesting something other than that, maybe?
Well, I was looking at doing it because the Sparks project that we're working on has to be concluded by the end of December on the 30th.
Yes.
As we'll all be rushing to get these items done. So I was looking to the middle of December is what I was looking for. And like I said, I won't be the only department head scurrying to find this information and make the purchases.
Okay, so you're looking at about 4 months then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we will continue to do the billing if the companies will allow us to do the billing. Which this particular company allows us to do 2/3 of the billing. We have to pay 1/3 up front. I think they were just looking for good faith out of us.
Okay. I just want to clarify what you thought you needed there before I vote one way or the other. So even to extend it to December isn't that bad.
Right, but you're talking about a $66,000 and
Right.
you're gonna max 2 cards out at 30 for this. I don't know.
You could always start with a certain period of time and then do it again if you're not comfortable
I
doing
think
it
that's,
until the
I
end.
think that's wise. Let's just do 60 days. I'd be in favor of 60 days, and if we need to go on, we can just do another 60. That'd be my motion.
Okay, and I'll second.
Okay, could you please actually state your motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to request the additional credit lines on the cards, 2 cards, for 30,000 for 60 days, and at that time, after that time, we will either extend it or reduce the credit limit.
Second.
Motion by Cam, second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Okay, so just to be, for my clarification, so the maximum credit limit for each card would be 30,000.
30,000.
Thank you.
This is for PPE stuff.
And,
We use-
yeah, I mean, it wasn't stated in the motion, but it did.
He wanted 15 per card, didn't he?
No, he's asking for 30.
He's asking for 30 per card.
Is that good, Randy?
Do I need
Yes,
to
ma'am.
amend my motion to state it's be used just for PPE?
Well, I think Randy knows it would be monitored.
All right, Brad, that's the only project we're working on.
Right.
Okay.
Is that all you have, Randy?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
Randy, I've got something.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Randy, I joined in on a seminar the other day, broadband connectivity grant through the CARES Act, with limits up to $1 million per grant. That kind of grant would have to be initiated through emergency management, and the application deadline is Thursday. Have you looked at that?
I started reading it this weekend. Yes, I received it last week. I started reading it this weekend.
Well, we as a county are pushing, to enhance our broadband speeds, and there's a opportunity. I'm sure it's going to be competitive, and the money go fast.
I've already spoke with Lloyd about items that we would need for that grant,
Yeah.
and he's already thinking what we need to put in there
Okay.
for line items,
Okay. Well,
because he would know that more than
I
I would.
would encourage, I'm speaking for me, but I would hope the commission would encourage submission of that.
I don't know whether you've following Randy or not, but I've got people down south that's really wanting it, and then I just know that due to our schools doing what they're doing, they're talking about it nationally now, that our broadband out in the farms and country area is not as good as what it is in the city area. So whatever, and let us know whatever we can do to help on getting something accomplished with that. I mean, that's just something that if we got a chance, might as well try.
Yes, that's this week's project.
Okay.
Just touching on the broadband issue, I don't wanna, but, Roger Marshall and Senator went to Moran. We had a holdup on the Corps of Engineers. I don't know if everybody knew that. I wasn't aware of it. TCT trying to bring in, and the Corps was throwing up some red tape, and they went to bat for us to try to get it pushed through. And so I'd like to thank them for helping us on our broadband initiative.
I mean, the county or city?
The line that they were blocking was or holding up was the backbone coming into Hillsborough.
Okay.
And they would also hold up coming into Marion too, because they both come from up there, so.
Well, Randy, I have every faith that you can get it done.
Thank you.
Randy, I have one other question that I see, and I don't know if that was under the CARES Act or not. Did you got a building that you was for 30,000? Is that what I seen on that that you was thinking of?
Yes, sir. That's a long-term project. It'll be used for a variety of things. PPE is a very broad topic, and it comes in all different types. It's not just masks and gloves that we use, but we also use PPE in a lot of law enforcement fire responses as well. So we're building a building to actually house some specific equipment for that, and that'll actually be behind the sheriff's building, where we'll be located.
I
It's
don't know the
about
rest of the
30 by 20, I think, building.
But I think that somewhere we need to get a clue in here. I mean, right now we're just taking a guess of what's going to happen. We're also looking at buildings, and you know, it'd be nice to work together instead of hearing it through, just seeing it on paper, so we know what our department heads are doing. You know, I think that money could be used with the building to put you in area together, but I think the bottom line is we got to know what you're doing, what you're expecting, because we may be doing something very similar over here, and we don't know it about what you're doing. So please keep us in touch.
And I would think that a request like that would have to be approved by the board. I don't believe that a department head has the authority to just go build a building without board approval.
I agree, but I'm letting set the rules right now so we all know just exactly what's going on.
Well, I don't know that he was asking at this point, he was just simply saying that they need a place that there is a spot over there by that place to store temporarily for now. I think we have some stuff stored there now, don't we? At the sheriff's, or the police station over there?
Yeah, in a closet.
In Hillsborough, we have some stuff stored there now?
Yeah, no, what Randy was talking about was the building to be built next to the
Just vacant lot here.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's been on the table for as long as Hillsborough's had theirs on the table.
No, there's a 30,000 in Randy's grant for CARES or Sparks, I don't know which, but for a build Sparks.
Okay.
Sparks. And that's why I'm asking questions. Want to know why? What's going on? I mean, if right and left hand don't work together, you don't get nothing accomplished.
Well, I understand, but we put that committee together to do this. I mean, so it wasn't it not a committee decision?
Right.
I mean, was it one person or was it a committee that we put in charge to come up with this?
It is, and when we approved that funding, that's really the reason why I ironed down on those line items. Can those finances move from another column to another column? Are we set with that? And they said, no, we can absolutely move that.
Okay, so
This is the plan. There's too much moving parts to say that 100% that's what the way this is going to go. So this isn't set in stone. I mean, it is a guide, it is a direction, but it is not set in stone.
Okay, and I thought that's what I heard you say the other day, so I didn't see any reason to get all shook up about it at this point.
No, what Randy's saying is we just need to make sure that if we're thinking something and they're thinking something, we need to get on board.
So
with
is
it.
that all the departments that we need to be a part of, or just emergency management?
No, there's line items for health. There is also line items for.
Yes, because I'd hate to just single out.
No, I think that what Randy was asking was.
I know what he was asking. I understand, thank you.
So, yeah, I guess I shouldn't think what Randy was asking. I should let Randy speak for himself.
I've been here when things have been thrown in our face, and I don't like it. And not by Randy, I'm just saying, we gotta have a plan and we gotta work together, and so we know what the left hand's doing, and if we can't do that, then we got a problem.
Well, we've had that problem for a long time with all the departments at different times.
You're just trying to curb it.
Let's try and put a stop to where we can all get on board.
All right, I'm gonna, Randy, have you got anything else?
No, sir, that's
All
all,
right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Money causes a lot of problems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
All right. Let's move on. Lisa, I seen her out there with the good review that we saw earlier, you know.
How are you guys all doing?
How are you?
They give them a little,
Pardon me?
lots of information, huh?
Yes, oh yeah. Oh.
All right, I'll let you take it
Well,
away.
I think this was requested by Dave, as an executive session for you to talk with Lisa about current staffing levels, performance in the office, and how to move forward.
I'll let Dave take it away.
Wait, if you're gonna talk about personnel, you're gonna go.
Yeah, let's go executive.
Personnel performance.
That's your little sheet.
No, I don't have.
I got it.
So you can actually hear them.
Where mine's at?
I don't talk about it.
I'll let somebody.
There you go, Dave.
I mean, how long do you need? 15 minutes?
If, do you wanna try 15 and see if you got questions after that, whatever?
Okay, I move we go to executive session to discuss personnel in the appraiser's office for 20 minutes.
15, I thought you said.
Whatever you guys want.
With the commission and Lisa Berg pursuant to KSA 74-4319B
Personnel
for
performance.
personnel matters, performance.
I second.
Motion by Dave.
And just clarifying, you said 20 minutes.
Yes,
Second by
it
Randy.
always takes longer.
Okay?
We'll have to just go back in if it takes longer. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resume back at
10:28?
28.
Okay. Okay, camera's on.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, out of executive session, no action taken. At this time, I'd like to make a directive to use the Kansas County Appraisers Association as a directive to find qualified individuals to fill our needs.
Got that?
Tina, do you mind if I use what you, kind of the basis of the letter you sent out to people as the guideline to send to Cindy?
Oh,
Is that okay?
sure, I didn't
Okay.
know. Okay, so you're gonna do it?
Yeah, or you
Okay.
can, either one.
Great.
You can, either one. I got her on
Okay.
speed dial.
So basically, we're gonna advertise with KCCA.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
And you've already sent out to who? Sent letters to every.
We've
appraiser
sent
office?
letter to all of the people that PBD say are
Yes.
hold the qualifications.
Okay.
And Tina, did you say KCAA or KCCA?
KCCA?
It's KCAA, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I heard that.
All right.
All right, we need, is everybody good, or we need any more time? I think we ought to move on. Okay.
And
Thank you,
We can
Lisa.
talk, we can get together later about, I can give you whatever you want.
That'll be perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I did receive some grants, some paperwork on our CDBG, CV grant applicants. There are several businesses that have already been that were approved for award, that have followed through with paperwork, and so we need, the SCED is asking the chairman to sign 3 pages
Okay.
here.
Cool. So, this one's for a little off the top. One we previously approved. Do I need to get a motion, or just, since we already approved?
It's all been approved. I
Okay.
don't think that you would need a motion unless the board wants to make a motion.
I think we voted to approve those who were qualified.
Right,
When we had
there's
that
6 of
list.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll just read them off and go ahead and sign them then. Okay. So a little off the top on,
Was that the one that only gets 3,000
Must be
something?
where you went.
no, that's what it's,
Did we change that then?
Yeah.
Or that was a different one.
There's a different one.
this one was,
Oh, there's the signature is over here on the right.
oh,
That's okay.
man. Yeah,
Do you want me to reprint it?
yeah.
Okay. do that.
That was CK Pharmacies, it was the 3,000.
Okay.
Oh, is that the one? Okay,
Your
that's
moment
right.
of senior
That's right.
moment.
Yeah. So we have
This is fogged up, huh?
pizzerias.
That was Burns.
Yep. That one's also 5,000. The other one you were saying was 5,000 too.
Okay.
Off the top. This one here is CK Pharmacy, and it is the 3,000. 89.63.
And our second round, Ted, closing date, did we set a date on that?
What do we have?
Okay.
I thought this week, wasn't it?
Well, I thought it was this week.
I was thinking the 26th, I had no idea why. Maybe the 28th. I think probably this Friday.
Sorry about that.
All right.
And you do have some applications for the second round, Tina?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how many right now. I know I have at least one.
Okay. I mean, blank forms, form to fill out.
Application.
Yeah.
Application periods, okay, yeah. I need to pick one up.
Okay.
Okay.
You had mentioned about putting the, after your discussion the last time about putting that property acquisition discussion back on, I don't know if we needed that. I just was following my notes from last week.
I think
Got
we do.
got information on
Okay. So, you wanna do it? This is something we need to have. Yeah, Brad wasn't gonna be here, that's right. Yeah, his sister.
it. It's on the road, so.
I guess we could still talk about it, but just get on the same page here. All right, I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate, item number 6, for 15 minutes with the board and Tina. Tina was here last time.
Yes.
Yeah. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319.
That's the one.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll pass it down.
Oh, yeah, there.
Okay, so it would be open session resume at 10:50,
Yes.
10:34, 10:35.
15 minutes. Yeah. Then we'll give you time to
Okay,
restart the.
all right, we'll be back at 10:50.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. executive session, no action taken. Go ahead and move the meeting on to public comments. And we just got back out. Okay. There's some names still popping in there.
Can you repeat the no action?
No.
Because I did
Oh.
not press the button.
Out of executive session and no action taken. Currently waiting on some public comments, if there are any. Giving public a lot of time to get back into the meeting. We were to resume the meeting at 10:50, it's 10:52. So, we're not on there. They didn't have anything pressing, I guess. So, I'll go ahead and move it on to commission comments, close the public comments.
One comment. This is directed to Ms. Paulus at the Free Press. She reported last week that I had asked some questions, COVID questions, of our county health nurse. She said, I appeared confused. These questions came from constituents that I had gathered and asked, and Ms. Paulus, no, I was not confused.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
The transfer station down here, just from outlook, from what I've heard, I don't know whether it's still, they're planning on maybe an operation by the first of the month to switch to phase 3. And I haven't had a chance to ask Jonah whether he made it to Josh or anything and went over and looked at persons. But I'm concerned about, as we'll see down here, what we have is not what we thought we was getting designed by Mr. Perdue and the team. And I'm concerned that if we don't make some changes in what this phase 3 is going in on, what the public side is going to dump into, that it's not going to be a smooth operation unless we make it a couple changes to our plan, which is not big changes, just to get a smooth wall on the south side for our tractor and stuff to push against and come against. If we have little, you'll see it down there in a little bit, the jut eyes from around the post and stuff like that. If we don't improve that in stage 3, phase 3, we'll pay for it forever. And so that's one of them, that, and then we'll talk about the truck parking, and I haven't had Randy Perdue, I don't know if we can get a hold of him, but had him explain everything, what he's got in mind, because he's the designer of it, they are the designer, so, well, maybe we'll see more. I didn't get a chance to see what the steel crew is down there building the steel end of it. the chute part of it, so I'm anxious to see what the chute part's gonna look like with the dumping into our trucks. And so those are the concerns that I have about our project right now. And I think that if we can all agree that we make some changes to get that accomplished, like one other part on phase 3 is an office out there at the west end of the building. With some of the changes we're gonna make, or should make, or can make on the inside of the building we have, maybe that we take that office off, clear at the west end. Because it was designed just for the scales and for somebody to sit out there, and in case they'd have another room to set in. I'm not so sure that it can't be put on the inside of the building and still see the scales at an angle across there. So I can show you all of that when we get there. But that's just some concerns that I have, and I want to get myself happy to make sure that we're trying to get the best product. And I think we can get a good product. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that bad. It's just some things that in the paper it don't. When you look at the general plan, you can't see an offset on the north driveway, but when you go down there, you'll see an offset on the north driveway. And
Cody explained that to me.
okay.
The state made them, you have to dig so far back at a slant. And that was going to encroach into the existing driveway. So that's as far as it could go.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
they knew it wasn't going to be straight, but it wouldn't have.
Our concern though is, can we get a semi down there
Yeah.
safely and stuff? That's our main concern, Dave.
Yeah, we're gonna be ripping off mirrors all the time.
Yeah, we don't. That's the big thing we don't
Yeah.
want to do. And our local director Josh is the one who brought this to my attention. These concerns. But again, we was looking at it before you drive a truck down there, before you do anything like that. But it just looks.
Yeah, I know.
Looks
Yeah.
So that's my concerns. Just so we can take a look at it and see it today.
I will.
I have nothing to say. And so I would like to just bring up two things actually, can't throw up one, but anyway, one thing that I wanted to bring to I was going to ask the commission if anybody's been following as to what's going on out in California with the blackouts. They're having these major blackouts because they're pretty much solely dependent upon wind and solar. They've done away with all their natural gas. And I just think that is something that really needs to get a little bit of attention, what we're doing in the future. I've been paying attention to it, and I was just wanting to bring that up to see if anybody else was following it. I see Joan and
Yeah, I've seen it on the news.
yeah. It's
They got fires too.
Yeah.
they have fires every year. And thankfully, we have some of our firemen out there helping, out there in California and in Colorado. Some of our people right here, our fire people are out there helping with that, which is, I'm very proud of them to do that. And the other thing I was going to add to what Mr. Becker said, I seen that in the paper. And I have told several people that he was simply asking a question, and in my opinion, he didn't appear confused to me at all. But the newspaper, that's where the newspapers, our liberal papers that we have, that's where they go from real journalism to cynicism and opinions. And it's sad, because like I said before, those papers go all around the state, and we get a pretty negative response.
These are questions that I had gathered over 2 or 3 weeks. And several people had asked me, and I said, well, I'll put some questions together.
Exactly, so you're just asking
I
questions.
guess I didn't do it right, I don't know.
Of your constituents, and then here you are, you're confused. They're actually confusing you with Joe Biden, but you weren't confused. But I defended you.
Oh, you put him and Joe in the same spot, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing, I know.
No, I didn't put him and Joe, I think the paper was confused.
So, anyway, I don't get anywhere, but, I mean, it's the freedom of the press, and that's what
It is, but it's too bad that the freedom of the press does what they do to people. But they don't have freedom to destroy people, and they don't have the freedom to actually make up news. That's a whole new story.
So, anyway, I have my one item that I'd like. Since we don't have an economic development for the county, I would like to at least have once a month or something where we actually set aside 30 minutes on the agenda or something to talk about. Because right now we're in a prime time. We can get some people to move here. We can, I mean, people are evacuating some of the cities. They're leaving. They don't like the rules, the draconian rules imposed on them there. We haven't done that here. I mean, we have a shining star if we just let people know it's here. And and businesses, how do we get businesses? I just would like to have more productive talks about thoughts and maybe bringing in, I know not all the cities have economic development, but the ones that do, be a part of that. And then I'd say the other cities, if the mayors of those cities wanted to get on board, you know, just share ideas. How do we make the best out of this?
That's one of the reasons I brought up this broadband issue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to get out of other states that can keep their job.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
But
that
if
want
we
to get
can't,
high speed.
if we can't get high speed for them, they're not coming here.
Yeah, that's definitely, and we've heard that for about 8 to 10 years already, and we've heard it. But Joan, on your comment about that, it's not only necessary to do something like that, it's a must, because in a small town, we need every business we can get. And we also need to spark our city leaders to something to that effect, because when a business is sitting idle for 3 years or 4, who goes out and asks them, is there anything we can do to get your business back on? Is there any, the owners of whoever it may be, you know? I'm just, it's come to where it's not happening. And we need something to just talk about it, no matter, because what happens if somebody walks in here, and I think a great example already what you're saying is, what about the right here in Marion, the new food truck people,
Yeah.
you know, and they sparked their interest on putting the trash deal back on and taking care of buildings and things like that. So, you know, their spark started us to try to help them in a way. Maybe it's a little, maybe we could do more. I'm not saying that, but it's a spark.
I think going back to the point that, you know, people from all over the state get to see Marion County in some form, way or another, and if businesses see that we are proactively, actively trying to get help and be friendly, that will gain us just as much as any abatement or anything we can get. I still wouldn't mind seeing an abatement for brick and mortar, but that's something we can talk about in this sort of thing.
I'd like to see people that are interested come to the county and rather than say, what will you do for us? What could the county do to help us start a business in Marion County, rather than just always talking about abatements and,
Yeah.
you know, all this, because abatements, let's face it, abatements are fine if you're talking about a substantial business, but if you don't continue and extend the abatement forever, they'll threaten to leave.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, you know, it's something to think about.
And, you know, we're talking about economic development. Marion's had a good stream this last 60 days. They got 2 new businesses, two buildings have sold downtown Marion, and there's a contract on the 3rd one. And they've got 1 house half done, 2 basements, and they got paper signed for the 4th house in the 5-home development.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do have some things going on, but like this morning, I told Colin that he sold himself out of business. He had no more buildings to sell.
Yeah, that's,
So-
how do we keep that going?
Yeah.
How do we help
And
them
then
keep
if-
that going?
It'd be nice if we could do something for the 2 new businesses coming to town.
We need to attract young families
Well, they are,
with children.
The one is
Well,
another daughter. and-
Everybody.
We've seen our enrollment trends the last several years.
Yeah, the new homes going in are for first-time home buyers. And I think every one of them have kids.
And one other thing with that, Dave, is it seems like we've got our backbone businesses that's been around for a long time. Don't forget them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they get the feeling if you do everything for a new business,
Well, yeah, I mean,
you're not
we-
here to help me, the old business stay here.
We never
And,
had anybody come and ask, what can we do for you?
Well, I'm
The
just.
banker doesn't even come, we have to go to the banker.
No, but I'm just saying, don't forget the old business
Yeah.
too, 'cause.
Yeah, you don't wanna be Dish Network.
No.
Give all the promos to all the new people
Yeah.
and forget about the ones that have
Yeah.
been with you for 10 years and they
Yeah.
drop you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you change from dish to direct or.
No,
So-
somebody wants a hassle.
I'm not trying to shut it off, but we're gonna go see the transfer station. So would we adjourn at that point? I mean, it's kinda hard to do with the
Recess.
we can recess to go do that, come back here and adjourn.
You can adjourn to go do a transfer station tour, but you can't take any actions out there. Anything that you want to talk about, then information from you, what you get out there, you would need to schedule that on an agenda for the next time to discuss, so.
And
I mean, you can do it either, if you
Put it on the
recess to
agenda
go
for
out
next
there
week.
and then come back here to adjourn, that's doable.
Our last day is next Monday, isn't it? Yeah. I was thinking it's Friday was our last day, but no, we got, oh, wait a minute, is that the holiday?
No.
No,
Following week.
Following week, it's clear in September, isn't it?
it's September 6th is Labor Day, the 7th or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
we can put it on next week's agenda.
We're good with that. I mean, if something comes up, we can always have a special meeting to address something quickly.
I mean, you could go out there and look, but like I said, you can't make any
Yeah.
decisions out there if you go ahead and adjourn here. And if you want me to bring the video camera, I can do that.
I think that would be just more effort than we need. As long as we're not breaking any rules by going out there together, then
Yeah.
I'm good with that. And if we need to make a decision, we'll come up with either a special meeting or we'll put it up on the
Yeah,
next week's
no
agenda.
decisions made, just get some, everybody can see what progress is and see what we're looking at, because I haven't been there since last Tuesday or Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I didn't make it.
Okay, well, I will
Make the
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Have a second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Meet there in 10 minutes?
Yeah.